Hi everyone, welcome back to SGR Chemistry. Last lecture we discussed the charge of a colloid. How charge is formed on the surface of a colloid. And it is due to the preferential adsorption of ions from solution. And due to the presence of charge, some properties such as electrical double layer, Zeeman potential and electrophoresis. These are the properties discussed under this electrical properties of colloids, and the first one is electrical double layer. How an electrical double layer is formed? We discussed earlier that suppose silver iodide on the surface it forms suppose a negative charge or a positive charge, whatever it may be. It may be a positive charge or a negative charge. That depends upon the concentration of the ion present in the solution. I am representing the silver iodide colloid as like this. Suppose this is our silver iodide colloid. This is our solid, that is, this is our colloid. From solution, either positive or negative charge get adsorbed on the surface. Suppose it is the positive charge get adsorbed. So we can represent it like this. Positive charge is adsorbed on the surface of the colloid. Right? Then, in our solution, there are negative ions also present. NO3 minus, okay, NO3 negative ions are also present in our solution. And what happened is that, immediate to the first, this is our first layer. Our first layer, and it is our fixed layer. Okay, it is our first layer. Then, immediate to the first layer, the oppositely charged ions. Oppositely charged ions get adsorbed. Right. Get adsorbed. Then from that, either positive or negative charges that is the layer after the first layer get diffused into solution. This is diffused into solution. This is diffused into solution. Okay, this is our fixed layer. So the double layer, it is due to preferential adsorption of charges from solution. So on the surface there is a fixed layer, either a positive charge layer or a negative charge layer, and just immediate to that opposite charge layer form, and that layer diffused into the solution. So we have a fixed layer and a diffused layer. Diffused layer. For example, again the first case, that is potassium iodide plus silver nitrate. Here we are adding potassium iodide to silver nitrate, so the amount of silver nitrate is very much larger compared to potassium iodide. So the number of Ag plus is very much greater. So what happened is that plus KNO3, that's our reaction. So some of the silver nitrate molecules remain as unreacted. So it present as Ag plus and NO3 minus. So here Kg plus and NO3 minus, and it is our colloid, does not undergo dissociation. So silver iodide is our colloid. Then the byproduct is potassium nitrate, which exists as K positive and NO3 negative. And the unreacted silver nitrate acts as Ag positive and NO3 negative. So in addition to this, that is this silver positive ion get absorbed on the surface. So we get a positively charged colloid. Ag plus preferentially adsorbed on the surface of silver iodide and get a positively charged colloid. Again there are ions, positively charged potassium ions, negatively charged nitrate ions are also in our solution. So the first layer is due to the preferential adsorption of Ag positive. Okay, then when there is a positively charged ion, obviously negatively charged ions will be attracted towards it. So NO3 minus may come closer to it, but it is not closely bonded, so it will diffuse. So then the positive and negatively charged ions will move towards and get repelled and it is diffused to solution. So this is our diffused layer. But the preferentially adsorbed ions, it is fixed on the surface. It is fixed on the surface. Okay, the layer just immediate to the first layer, it is known as Stern layer. Just immediate to the first layer, just immediate to the first layer, it is known as Stern layer. And the diffuse layer, it is known as Gould-Chapman layer. We are very familiar with the Gould-Barons. Gould-Chapman layer, that is diffuse layer, it is known as Gould-Chapman layer. And the first layer immediate to the layer on the surface, it is known as Stern layer. That is just the layer just immediate to the fixed layer, it is known as Stern layer. And the remaining layer, it is known as Gould-Chapman layer. So we have two layers, fixed layer and diffused layer, and it is due to the formation of or by the mechanism of preferential adsorption. These two layers are formed. That is, the colloidal particle preferentially adsorb some of the ions from solution and it forms a fixed layer, and the remaining ions get attached or attracted towards, and some are get repelled. So it forms a diffused layer. So a fixed layer and a diffused layer is formed, and this is known as electrical double layer. That the fixed layer and the remaining diffused layer. These two layers are generally known as electrical double layer. Then what is the consequence of this electrical double layer? We are discussing that. The diffuser layer do not diffuse to an infinite distance. At a particular distance, that layer will cease. This is our limit. This is the limit of diffuse layer. So it do not expand or it do not diffuse to an infinite distance or to a large distance. This diffuse layer is to a small distance, very small distance. So there is a limit, there is a boundary. There is a boundary of this diffused layer. Okay, so the potential created between the layer just immediate to the fixed layer and the boundary of the diffuse layer. This is the distance. So there is a potential between these two boundaries, that is between the potential created between the layer just immediate to fixed layer, that is our Stern layer, okay, and the boundary of the Gould-Chapman layer. or the potential created between the layer of the closest approach to the fixed layer and the boundary of the diffused layer. So the layer of closest approach, layer of closest approach to the fixed layer and the boundary of the diffused layer. Boundary of the diffused layer. All are charged. So a potential is created. So the potential created between the layer of closest approach to the fixed layer and the boundary of the diffuse layer. This potential, the potential created between this, it is known as theta potential. So potential developed, potential created between the layer of closest approach to the fixed layer and the boundary layer of the diffused layer. Boundary of the diffused layer. The potential created between the layer just immediate to the fixed layer or layer of closest approach to the fixed layer and the boundary of the diffused layer. This potential is known as theta potential. I repeat, the potential produced or potential created between the layer of closest approach to the fixed layer or between the layer of immediate layer to the fixed layer, that is this layer. The potential created between the layer of closest approach to the fixed layer and the boundary of the diffused layer. That potential is known as theta potential. Clear? Or we can say the potential created between the Stern layer and the boundary of the Gould-Chapman layer. It is known as theta potential. And when we are considering this as to dielectric plate, that is these two layers, the distance between these two layers is, suppose it is d, the distance between two layers it is d. And the dielectric constant of the solution is caps D. Then theta potential is equal to 4 pi E d divided by d, where E is the charge, d is the distance between the two layers, and d, capital D, is the dielectric constant of the medium. So theta potential can be given as theta equal to 4 pi Ed divided by d. That is the general expression for theta potential. Okay. And the next point discussed in this electrical property, it is electrophoresis. When the charged colloidal particles are placed in an electric field, and the charged colloidal particle is placed, so this is the colloidal particle, it is colloid, it is positively charged electrode, and it is our negatively charged electrode. The colloid is placed in an electric field, and potential is passed, current is passed through colloid. Current is passed through the colloid. And what happened is that, obviously, positively charged colloid will migrate towards negatively charged electrodes. and negatively charged colloid will move towards positively charged electrode. That migration of either positively charged or negatively charged colloid to the oppositely charged electrode when it is placed in an electric field is known as electrophoresis. When colloidal state, when colloidal particles are placed in an electric field, the negatively charged colloid will move towards positively charged electrode, and positively charged colloid will move towards negatively charged electrode. That migration, that movement of colloidal particle towards the oppositely charged electrode in an electric field is known as electrophoresis. Okay, electrophoresis. That's an important property of colloidal particle. Electrophoresis is an important property of colloidal particle. We can find out the charge present on colloidal particle depending upon the movement either towards to cathode or anode. So it is an important property of colloidal system. That is, when colloidal state is placed in an electric field, the colloidal particle moves towards oppositely charged electrode, and that phenomenon is known as electrophoresis. And suppose our colloid is proteins or biomolecules. For example, proteins, we know. Proteins our colloid is protein, suppose. We know it is amphilytic, that is, we can say it is amphoteric in nature. So generally it is known as when this protein is considered, that is, it is made up of amino acid. So both positive and negative parts are there. Proteins contain both the negative and positive ends. And at a particular pH, this protein, that is our colloid, become neutral, and at that pH the colloid particle do not move either to cathode or anode. That is, movement of colloidal particle stop at a particular pH, and it is in the case of proteins and biomolecules. So at a particular pH the movement of colloidal particle either to cathode or anode will be stopped. That pH, that point, that is the pH at which the migration of colloidal particle towards cathode or anode will be stopped, is known as isoelectric point. Isoelectric point. Isoelectric point. Isoelectric point is the pH at which the migration of colloidal particle towards cathode or anode will be stopped. That particular pH is known as isoelectric point. Hope the topics discussed in this electrical property is clear, and we can discuss the remaining parts in our next lecture. Thank you for watching.